That's awesome. Thank you very much. All right, let's go in there.
No!
Yes!
No!
Yes!
No!
Yes! We are going in here.
We are not going
We
in
are
there.
going in there.
Give me your back.
No, we do not go back. We do not go back. Look, the car's gone. It's gone. Bye, car.
We run.
No, we do not run.
It smells of
Stand
death
our ground.
decay in there.
It smells of death in there, but... Hi.
No! It's full of shit eaters. We run.
Come on. This is the hospital, all right? And besides... Annie is in there.
Huh?
Yeah, Annie is in there. Yeah. She's in here. So why don't we go in there, and we can just come straight back out with her. Like right now, can't we?
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, what a great idea. That's a good guy.
Tom Hardy announced that pre-production on the upcoming sequel of Venom 3 has begun. Since Kelly Marcel took over as director for Venom 3, news regarding the film has been hard to come by. Hardy announced the news on his official Instagram account. His post included what appears to be a deleted scene. The clip shows Hardy's Eddie Brock being dropped off in front of a hospital, much to Venom's chagrin. Venom argues with Eddie inside his head as he tries to maneuver them away from the building, giving the impression that his host is having a psychotic break in full view of all the pedestrians walking by. Venom finally agrees to go inside after Eddie mentions his ex-fiancée Anne Wang is in there. Unfortunately, one of the hospital's security cameras captured the entire ordeal. Eddie and Venom quickly gained popularity after the 2021 release of Venom. Let There Be Carnage, the follow-up to the 2018 film's unexpectedly successful first appearance. With the plot twists in Venom, Let There Be Carnage, the new film can go in a variety of paths. Fans have been picking up on subtle clues to speculate on the symbiotic antihero's journey. Despite the numerous guesses and questions, confirmations and answers are scarce. Mulligan, who had been a goodish guy up until that point, opens his eyes after a seemingly fatal injury to reveal they are glowing blue at the end of the previous film. This appears to imply that Mulligan, like his comic book counterpart, will eventually become Toxin. Toxin is meant to be a spawn of Carnage, just as Carnage is a sort of spawn of Venom. That essentially means that Venom is Toxin's grandfather, but don't dwell on that for too long. Toxin is essentially made up of all best abilities, making them a force to be reckoned with. While not inherently evil, it is possible that the films do not highlight this fact. Fans have speculated that Andrew Garfield, who recently played Peter Parker in Spider-Man, No Way Home may return to the role after starring in The Amazing Spider-Man. Several viewers feel that the universes of Garfield and Hardy are identical. For SpiderMan Homecoming, we can speculate that Tom Hardy's Venom is unlikely to meet Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Eddie was transported back to his dimension at the end of No Way Home after Doctor Strange dealt with the multiverse collapsing. Venom did leave a small piece of himself in the MCU, so it appears that Marvel's Spider-Man will come into contact with some form of the symbiote at some point. Because of how their story has been developed, Eddie and Venom don't need Spider-Man, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't engage in fight with him. Venom was once thought of as one of Spider-Man's 3 archenemies after initially developing a bond with the superhero in the comics and eventually taking Eddie Brock as his primary host and the Green Goblin and Dr. Octopus. As Venom has evolved into more of an anti-hero and has collaborated with Spider-Man on a few occasions, they deserve a crossover. Before the release of Spider-Man's 3rd solo film, it was predicted that Venom and Spider-Man would meet as a result of Peter having his identity made public. At the time, it was believed that these two characters existed in the same universe. These rumors were quickly dispelled by Spider-Man No Way Home, which demonstrated how the Spider-Man trilogy by Sam Raimi, the Amazing Spider-Man films by Mark Webb, and Sony's Spider-Man universe are all a part of the MCU's multiverse, while also existing separate of Spider-Man's MCU universe. Because of this, Hardy's Venom and Holland's Spider-Man have yet to interact and cannot appear in Venom 3, because that would require a different significant multiverse problem. Eddie decided in the mid-credits sequence of No Way Home that he must speak with Spider-Man to understand everything he was informed had occurred in the MCU, but this won't make sense now that he is back in his universe. Part of the MCU's multiverse, while also existing independently of Spider-Man's MCU universe. Because the MCU's multiverse introduced the concept of variants, which is how Maguire and Garfield's Spider-Men were resurrected, there could be a previously unknown Peter Parker variant in Venom's universe, waiting to meet Eddie and the symbiote. Until the story of Venom 3 is revealed and its place in the timeline is confirmed, these appear to be the only ways Spider-Man could appear in Venom 3, whether Holland's version or a variant. Spider-Man. Across the Spider-Verse, the highly anticipated sequel to 2018's Oscar winner, is set to hit theaters on June 2, 2023, with Beyond the Spider-Verse following on March 29, 2024. These things usually come in threes, Hardy said in an interview. If there is to be a new one, and they are heavily dependent on the success of each one, so you can't count on them ever happening again. Each one must be as successful as the last. But I think it's really important if you go into something thinking that 1, 2, and 3 are the same story, the same film. So you don't catch yourself off guard when you suddenly have to do a third from nowhere. There has to be some continuity into a third, fourth, and fifth, and if somebody says no, that's fine, he added. You let it go and move on to something else. While plot details are unknown, the film will have to address the giant spider in the room in Spider-Man No Way Home's post-credits scene. A confrontation between Spider-Man and Venom has yet to occur, and with Spider-Man swinging for Marvel Studios, it's unclear when or if Spidey will become involved in Venom's antics. However, there's a chance that they will fight in Avengers: Secret Wars. Not only is the 2026 Avengers film set to feature a Marvel Multiverse crossover, but Spider-Man first encountered the symbiote in the original Secret Wars comics. There's always the possibility of Spider-Man and Venom conflicting. What's going on with the Sony Pictures universe of Marvel characters is unclear, but with each entry, we're getting closer to full integration with the MCU and its multiverse. Venom previously had his franchise, but he's about to be joined by some unfriendly comrades. So far, the cast includes Daniel Espinosa's Morbius, Aaron Taylor Craven, Johnson's, and appearances by everyone from Madame Web to Spider-Woman. Whether this is a full-fledged return for Alfred Molina, Jamie Foxx, and Willem Dafoe, along with Hardy and a few others following Morbius with Jared Leto and Michael Keaton. The MCU is pitching the multiverse as an ongoing arc. Keep in mind that the Infinity Stones span the first 3 phases, so don't expect it to be a one-and-done deal. Whatever is going on with Eddie and the multiverse, the post-credits scene makes no mention of anyone other than the reporter and his symbiote making the jump to the main MCU. It makes sense for them to complete any remaining business before returning to their own story in Venom 3. Given that the multiverse story will presumably continue until at least Jonathan Majors' return for Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Venom 3 will logically arrive after February 2023. Even though it has only been 3 years since Venom and Let There Be Carnage, Disney, and Sony are wading through a slew of other stories that are all linked to a much larger universe. Anyway, the slick symbiote and his human host live a long and prosperous life in the Venomverse and beyond. Even though it's unclear where the story will go next, Serkis has hinted that he'll be back for more. When asked if the tease of Toxin and the other stories are leading to something bigger, he told 100%. I think the Venomverse has so much potential for really interesting journeys before the inevitable happens. It's also too tempting to avoid a confrontation between Venom and Spider-Man. Any of these 3 actors, whether it's Holland, Maguire, or Garfield, could easily face off against Venom in a third solo outing. Serkis hinted at the rumored Spider-Man and Venom crossover film, but in an interview, he mentioned a return to the Ravencroft Institute.
Obviously, at some point, those worlds are going to collide big time. They are. If we are so lucky as to make more Venom movies.
I know everyone is desperate for Venom to meet Spider-Man, the director said of tackling the spider villains versus before Webhead himself, that I am aware of. However, I believe there is real potential in some of Ravencroft's other supervillains. There's so much rich soil to be discovered there. That's the kind of sandbox I'd enjoy playing in. Who's lurking in there waiting to break out? Finally, rather than being caught up in the multiverse, some speculate that Eddie and Venom being transported to the MCU could be related to Null. Venom 3 could top up the action if it adapted 2020's King in Black arc, in which Null invaded Earth with an army of symbiote dragons. That's all we've got for today, guys. Also, don't forget to thumbs up the video and subscribe for more entertaining content, and we'll see you again soon.